We're going to put some chairs up on the stage now, and we're going to do our final talent panel. And, you know, this is a global summit, and we're focused on global behavior. And I asked my favorite global influencers from LinkedIn to come to the conference. And Walaa can come up. Yeah? And Walaa works in Bahrain for Kimberly-Clark. And I actually met Walaa through LinkedIn, and we had the opportunity to connect in Europe. So if you'll have a seat.
Just hi.
Hi.
Hi, hi. Hi, guys. Hi. Yeah. So I would say my mom would not understand that I'm 12,000 kilometers away. First time in US. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. And Jose from Syngenta in Argentina. Have a seat. And I met Jose through a research project, and he follows me on LinkedIn. And Mourad, come back to the stage, and we're going to really think about global talent. Now, one of the things I think we don't think hard enough about is the global supply chain. So let's just have each of you talk a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in supply chain, and what does it mean in your organization? So I think we've got a few slides here for you. So Syngenta, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yep. Thanks, Nora.
Thank you
for the invitation.
Yeah.
Syngenta is a leading agribusiness company. We have two very different big business from the supply chain perspective. One is related to seeds. So we produce seeds on around 32,000 farms around the world. And we also have a big chemical business. We produce that on 7 AI plants. Then we have 23 formulation factories around the world. The revenues there, 13 billions, was in 2015, 28,000 employees in 90 countries. Maybe the products are all around the world. If you have a plant growing anywhere, our products will be there. And that is our purpose, bringing plant potential to life. So we work for that. We are very proud in the company to relate it to our ambition. We have a sustainability program with 3 big pillars that describes perfectly how agriculture would look like in 2020. So I don't know how the supply chain would look like, but we'll give you a couple of figures related to those commitments. First, we will increase 20% the productivity of growers. So the idea is to grow more food with less. There's a big issue with water in the world, and we're working hard on that. 20% is a lot. We're working on biodiversity. So we commit to impact 15 million hectares to make them more biodiverse around the world. And the third one is the one that makes me really proud. It is related to poverty. So we commit to increase 50% the productivity of 20 million of small holders, some small growers around the world. So I'm proud to work in this company.
Awesome. And your focus is in LATAM, right? So it's not just Argentina, but can you talk a little bit about the scope?
Sorry for that. My role, I'm head of the Global Supply Center of Expertise in Latin America, so covering from Mexico to the south, all those countries. I'm part of a global team, so we work on projects globally. My responsibilities in LATAM. There are 14 people in my team, most of them there, so hello. Maybe my girlfriend also, so hello for her.
Yes. All right, well, let's shift gears. Walaa, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, I mean, that's a handsome picture there, you know? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I put here some slides of, like, I'm 37 years, so I'm just some older than the word supply chain management. Okay, I'm proud of this. Okay, I'm working right now as the supply chain director for Kimberly-Clark for the what we call GCC, or the Gulf area. So from a desert to the desert of Arizona. back again. Okay, I was working before that as the senior supply chain manager for P&G. I worked there for another 11 years. So between both two companies, I'm extremely proud of. Maybe the next slide, please. Yep.
You want to go back?
No, no. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I've been 17 years working in the different fields. I started as a chemist, so we have the same chemical background. I have a published book about supply chain in Middle East, and this is what actually I'm trying to present here, more of the Middle East perspective. So if we go to the next slide, you will see that my region that I'm responsible on is a huge one. Okay, if you just look into Middle East, so I'm responsible for Africa as well, but if you look only to Middle East, you will find that Middle East have desert, distance, war zones, and difficulties in logistics. If you look only to the Saudi Arabia, which is just one click away, yep, Saudi Arabia by itself is equal Europe when it comes to space. Okay, so it is not just that simple to say, guys, let's move a truck from Bahrain to Saudi or from Saudi's this side to that side. Okay, so looking to this, it is not only difficult from a logistics standpoint, but also to transfer the knowledge of the modern world or the developed countries to a growing or developing countries, as we always speak. All the companies that you know is talking about Middle East, Africa is the region to grow, is the region to make more money. But how to do it is not by just deploying the same formula that worked in US or in Europe. It needs to be like tailored supply chain. So that's all.
So Mourad, when you think about China, right, and you think about your teams in China, you know, what have you learned about supply chain talent?
Well, I mean, my learning after spending 10 years almost in China was that definitely need to build the passion and I would say provide challenge to people. People in that part of the world, I would say in Asia, but I feel the same in India and Southeast Asia. I would say they are absolutely demanding on getting exposed to new things and given, I would say, new missions. So, and a lot of questions that were raised just before on how do we keep the talents, how do we grow them. It's really the ability to give perspective, to give, I would say, new knowledge, and making sure we are feeding the teams.
So I want to ask you a series of questions. Our research shows that our biggest talent gap is in mid-management. Senior managers, directors, gray hairs like myself are retiring. We're able to really get at kids or young students coming out into our workforce. But the ability to get this mid-management talent and the ability to get specialized skill sets, like we talked about the supervisor of the robots or, you know, the people that run the yeast plants, is our biggest issue. Mourad, would you agree with this?
I think as you would speak about middle management, they are a bit, I would say, squeezed between, I would say, top leaders and also newcomers, where, as we were saying, newcomers are expecting very fast growth, a lot of change in their career, touching different jobs after doing quality, going to industrialization, etc. So how did we focus on, I would say, the middle management was really on giving exposure, leveraging the size of such of our company in exposing those people, exchanging resources with North America, sending people to Europe, having programs where the people would have, you know, kind of groups training. And I think the company has been quite successful at developing, I would say, on one side, the young talent. We have a program named Elite Young that was dedicated to, I would say, people below the 30s and so, and having also an intermediary leadership training with dedicated programs there.
So Walaa, how about yourself? How about Kimberly-Clark? Is that the picture you see?
So I would say, talking about, again, the Middle East, where my center of expertise is there, it is exactly the same. The entry level, as much as it is difficult to get, but the middle management, or I would say the supervisory level, and the level of knowledge is the most difficult one. Kimberly-Clark have the program for the supply chain internship, okay, that you start and they get you for like 9 months or 12 months according to the set of skills. And you get trained dedicated for supply chain. We have even some of our senior management available right now are graduate from this program who joined 12 years back in this program, which is still working on. Just if I look at it, as you were saying, people are retiring. People on the other side is, the knowledgeable people is into the sector of, I know it all, I don't want to change. And with all the new tools that is developing, and if you look to APO, the people are talking about it now, it is APO have been there for more than 20 years. Okay. The people need to learn different sets of skill, and I see it even difficult to myself right now to learn all this stuff. My daughter works with the phone that I gave her. I gave her my old phone. Okay, she showed me shortcuts that was installed basically from the manufacturer on it that I never know that it exists.
Right.
My car speaks to me and I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Jose, how about yourself? Is this the picture at Syngenta?
We work a lot on that.
Okay.
I told you the other day, I'm not so afraid of this. I see the pipeline of talent. I see it there.
Okay.
I think we did a great job explaining what supply chain is. So people today understand better what's the profession, how you can achieve goals, personal goals, your life goals with this profession. So from that perspective, I see a lot of talent that is willing to work in supply chain. What maybe we suffer a little bit is regarding to certain locations or regarding to things we need related to the ways we manage our supply chain. So if you talk about a processing plant of seeds in the middle of anywhere, far away from any big city, maybe we have challenges there, but it's more related to the locations of this. You know, we produce seeds in Peru, or there are several locations that are quite difficult. But from the perspective of Latin America and Syngenta, we did a lot, and we have the talent. We have a very, very good pool of talent.
So let's switch gears, because one of the things we asked the group was, what were the top 5 issues when companies are looking at talents, right? And you can see the increasing challenges about turnover, talent being pulled into other jobs, retirement of key people. But one of the things that really strikes me as you look at that upper right-hand corner around changing skill requirements and what's needed. Mourad, what are the changing skill requirements that you think are needed at Schneider? And people that are looking at this online, what should they think about as they prepare for a career in supply chain?
I believe we have been really changing our focus on and spending much more time and energy on driving competences towards planning, competences in logistics transportation, network modeling, as well as all, I would say we spoke a lot about data analytics, digitization. I would say we see things moving a lot on this area. I mean, moving from people who were doing the things towards people who are able to read the data, read the recommendation from the tool, and able to adjust algorithm, able to design the intelligence inside the tool. So I would say we really agree that the changing of skills is going to be a major driver for us in the supply chain. I think it's going to be a mixture of driving internal training and developing internal talents, recruiting people from outside, and having a proper balance between these two kind of sources.
Jose, what do you think? Is changing skill requirements a challenge for you, and if so, what are they?
Yeah, it is. I think it's the bigger. I agree, totally agree with that one.
Okay.
When I saw some slides of the Intel presentation, maybe 50% of the words that are there I don't know what they are.
Exactly, I had to look it up.
So, and that is a challenge. It's a big, big challenge. We are prepared for that. We did, related to the Center of Expertise, we designed a cycle to understand pretty well what are the capabilities that we are trying to build in the company, and then we split those capabilities into specific skills. So we train our people on that, or we bring people with the knowledge from the market. So it's there. It's a big challenge. We're doing something on purpose, because if not, we're dead.
So I'm going to tell a story on you. When I first met you over the phone, when you did a research project, you had the courage to say, I don't know what that means, Laura. And I think so many people don't have that courage to say, I don't know what that means, right? So the fact that you'll admit that on stage, I just think is such an important skill, right? To say, I don't know what Hadoop means, or I don't know what XYZ means. Well, your perspective on this, would you agree with this chart?
So the chart, you know, I'm an addict for it, okay, and I agree. I'll start from the same word, which is I had to look up many of the terminologies that we have used through those 2 days, looking to myself that I attend a conference every single month. So what, for the people who actually, again, to the concept of I know it all, or I just graduated from supply chain, or I'm a holder of an MBA, or whatever, okay. The change of skill requirements as well is changeable according to the place, okay. So yes, I can be brilliant. I was brilliant in supply chain in Egypt. Then when I moved to Nigeria, total different disaster, okay. Then moving to Gulf, it needed another set of skills. Yes, the core skill is exactly the same, but it is exactly like the core skill of walking. I cannot go to the mountain with the same shoes that I will go to the ice fort. It is different. Then comes the electronic collaboration, okay. I need to speak to my regional management or my regional counterpart in US. I'm talking about still SAP, downloading a report, and he's talking about SharePoint, clouds, and so there is still different skill levels requirement as well.
So, well, how do we close the gap? I mean, you know, I've been to Egypt with you and talked to the folks that are in the Egyptian universities, and do we get it from universities? Do we get it from, you know, consortia like APEX or CSCMP, or do we get it from conferences? Do we get it from, you know, sharing of information? How do we help the global supply chain to close the gap?
So again, quoting you, okay, which is first, I believe that the existing community of supply chain professionals right now first have done 50% of the job. 10 years back, I had to explain what the hell is supply chain, and I needed to explain to the people that I'm working in a factory and my job is, and then the guys start saying, yeah, procurement, logistics, or whatever. To help the people for the next 50% is, as I told you in the interview, which was, if I have a magic wand right now, I would make a program for every supply chain professional in the modern world to take only one person for 1 year as a mentee, okay? And those will be the beacon to the rest of the community. Remember our first interaction that I was the one sharing your quotes, okay, in Egypt, that it ended up that I have 1,000 followers who's quoting you. And this is how you create the rise of the tide, okay? You need to create somehow a movement. For sure, big entities like Apex Supply Chain Management Professionals can help in, but they will help with the end level of talent. To get into the basics of the talent, this will be the first start for us as professionals to help in.
Well, and I got to say, you were so powerful, right? You know, like overnight, I had 7,000 followers in Egypt. You're quite a popular guy, and 6,000 followers in Saudi Arabia. And
that's me. 1,000 followers now are coming in Bahrain. They are actually looking. Yeah. Yeah, they are still awake. 12,000 kilometers away.
So, Jose, how do we help you close this gap?
It's a good question. I was taking a look at the, it's not there, but it's the inadequate college skills. I think it's, the gap personally, I think it's bigger. most of us, we learned supply chain through years and years working on supply chain. So, and reading and articles and so on, but I never see a university on supply chain. There are a lot of PhDs, there are a lot of trainings, postgraduates and so on, but I think at that level, there's still a big gap. So maybe what you're doing with Corpu is part of what we need. So it's standardizing the way we understand the terminology, that we understand the concepts, that we understand the value that we can create at that very, very early level of education. The others, I think, they are pretty covered. We all found very good trainings around the world to leverage more advanced capabilities to learn.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to partner with Corpu, because I really believe all of our research should be set free to help people all around the world. Mourad, when you think about China, right? When I talk to the folks at Peking University, or, you know, they've come out of manufacturing, but it seems to me when I talk to them, they don't really understand the concepts of source, make, and deliver together, and that's kind of growing in the Chinese economy. How do you feel about this when you think about China?
Well, I mean, not only to speak about China. I mean, I spent 10 years there, and I really believe that things are moving, as I was saying, extremely fast. People are extremely open on getting to understand. We were saying yesterday that the first country around the world to invest in robotics and automation is going to be there for the next 5 or 10 years. And people, as we were saying, they are very eager in learning. In Schneider, we have an e-learning program, which is ongoing. And definitely some of the regions like China are extremely active on that one. But more globally, even beyond, in Europe, in North America, we also, I would say, have a continuous process of developing the people. I would say in every kind of seminar like this, and really appreciate the invitation and the time that you have been giving to us. We have representative, and we had 3 of our colleagues here, 4 of our colleagues in the room in the last 2 days. The idea is really to keep the open eyes on what's going on, and I was really, really impressed by the number of, I would say, similarity on the challenges that we're facing, challenges on technology, challenges on people, how to lead transformation, and you know, kind of going back home with a lot of ideas, and certainly with a few business cards on people that we might connect later on.
Well, it's our goal to build a guiding coalition. Thoughts around this chart? You know, what are the changing skill requirements that we're trying to really source, and how do we go about it? Any thoughts around this, George?
You know, I really appreciate what you guys are bringing to this conversation, because one of the things that we struggle with is this paradigm of technology growing as quickly and as fast as it has been. But there's a segment of experiential learning that we've all picked up along the way. So we've kind of made those mistakes. How do we encapsulate those learnings so that as the next generation of supply chain professionals come along, they don't make the same mistakes again with the newer technology at their disposal?
Who wants to go after it?
I mean, I can try to give a first insight on the way we are dealing with that in Schneider. We are really leveraging, I would say, our competency centers. We have what we call the global supply chain transformation, and we have some support functions that are really the one capturing the different practices and kind of formalizing them to become, I would say, and we have this Schneider production system that kind of, as we move forward, we are embedding those changes. So we now, I would say, document, and we carry on with all the practices around the world, and this enables us to avoid, you know, kind of redoing the same failure.
Jose or Walaa?
It's a very, very good question and a big challenge. I don't have an answer for how we use this, how we make it alive. I have a good practice, I consider a good practice we have in the company. We put on a portal our lessons learned. So we finish a project and we write down a document of what we learned. Frankly, it's not something that is completely alive. People is not taking the time to go through all those learnings. They're there. So I think the challenge is there. Many how to use the knowledge is still a big challenge. Not only how we fail, it's how.
You know, Walaa, one of the things that I've watched you in Egypt, right? You've got this group that, you know, you really have an informal network, right? You meet and you talk about supply chain, and you're kind of like a machine that you harvest, you know, everything that's in the social world and share it, right? Any thoughts here?
Yeah, and this where I would put my point here, which is, despite the corporates, we have right now the beauty of the blogs, tweets, okay? You can always share your tips and tricks on the social media. There are very hungry people for information, okay, that they are not interested to read 200 lines. They are interested to read, because generation is different, okay? Me holding a book of 500 pages is so difficult to other generations. If you just start putting tips and tricks, like what we are doing in the Beats, what we are doing as well on LinkedIn, small ones, just tip and tricks. Guys, do this, don't do that. After all, our job, if you, simplify it totally. We are just putting a product from this place to this place, from this shape to that shape. After all, it is simple, yet it is not easy. So we need to make our message to the new generation, to the new talent, to everyone, even the old generation as well, simple and easy. When I try to explain my job to my family, okay, my father, God bless his soul, he was 70 years old, okay, and he's an engineer. He knows what the hell is production. But just to tell him I'm a logistic guy, this was difficult. So I told him, you know the stuff that you produce? I ship. Okay. It was simple. Okay. This is the simple way to get into the minds of the people. Using the blogs. I got introduced to LoRa through the blogs and the communication. Then I believe since then I'm just like a medical leash, just on her shoulder all the time. Okay. So media.
May I,
yes.
Just another reflection. I think the self-learning capabilities of our systems and on the supply chain itself will play a role in that space. I wrote it on LinkedIn and you read it. My first job was 24 years ago to address some data in a database, related to maintenance in a chemical plant. Those stuff is still there. Today we have issues with our database. I think machine learning will play a role and will help us humans not to make stupid mistakes that I made. Don't know you.
George, I think you ask a great question. I mean, you're one of the smartest people I know in supply chain planning. And, you know, Jeremiah Wang was my reverse mentor. And, you know, Jeremiah has like, I don't know, 200,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, it's huge. And I said to Jeremiah, how do I feel comfortable on Twitter? I don't feel comfortable in this, and will anybody listen to me, right? And how do I feel comfortable on LinkedIn? And he's like, just go for it, Laura. And, you know, make mistakes, right? And, you know, today I have 117,000 people that follow me on LinkedIn. I've got, you know, all these Egyptian and Saudi Arabian followers. I have no idea. They would love to hear your voice, right? If you have experience on JDA or dirty data, you know, Walaa will bring it all the way through, you know, Saudi Arabia, right? They need that, right? And I think we as supply chain professionals have to help close that gap. What are your thoughts there? Yeah.
So just think about it that Nigeria plus Pakistan plus Egypt equal the citizenship of United States. Okay, only 3 countries. So imagine 120 countries in Middle East and Africa, okay, that are 24/7, they are on the phone because this is the only way of communication. Okay, they are living in remote areas. This is how they communicate with their families. Now internet is everywhere thanks to the free internet and free Wi-Fi. Okay, people were talking about that. Yes, you can cut for me the food, but never cut the password of the Wi-Fi. Okay, this is the most difficult one. So imagine what you can deliver to the teams there. Laura, when she came into Egypt, it was her first time, but the amount of people I needed to push back not to attend the dinner because we cannot just afford to get everyone. Okay, but everyone was interested to see this person on a picture, that they have the book. Even my first signing for the book, I told her that my first copy for her book was a stolen PDF copy, okay, because simply we are not allowed to get those books in some areas of the world, okay, so she gave me 3 copies, thanks for it, okay. Publish your stuff on Kindle, okay. Your stuff is easy to have. Your knowledge is there. Okay, I look to the presentation here, finding the talent in emerging economics. The talent is there. The people are smart. They know how to do everything, but the knowledge itself is not available. Instead of being fed by, I would say, a TPS system that was published 1970 something, okay, giving them the fresh data, okay.
And perspective, and I think short tweets and short blogs, and you know, because I think, Jose, you even had trouble getting the books into Argentina, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so, but it's amazing what you can do in social, right? Yeah, sure. So let's do our our last slide here. You know, building supply chain talent. You know, if you had a magic wand, what would you like for people to do in this room to help you?
So number 1, add me to your Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
This is number 1. Okay. Then please, whatever information that you have to offer, just offer it. Okay. We will filter it. It is exactly not like the data. We do not have this analytical mind. We'll just take it over and we'll adopt and adapt what can actually help us in our region. Because once we will help our region, Middle East and Africa, okay, you will make money here in US directly, because all the companies that we are operating, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Procter, whatever, okay, the main branch is here, okay, it will come to you later on. Come and visit. Middle East is not only Dubai, with my due all respect, one of the most countries, okay. Really, it is, for me, whenever I visited Middle East, Dubai, guys, Dubai is Europe in Middle East, okay. Saudi Arabia, guys, the people there are not like wearing armor all the time. They are moving around. They have all the big brands. Okay. Bahrain, you cannot pinpoint the island, but it is there. Egypt, we do not ride camels and crocodiles for sure. Okay, we just have normal cars, SUVs. We have the latest Galaxy Note 7 that exploded, and everything is available. Okay, trust me, we get the technology even faster than you because we got it without taxes. First, yeah, guys, your prices here is extremely high compared to me. Okay, so please come along. Okay, you will always find, whenever you are in Bahrain or in Egypt, at least you will find my home to spend the night. Okay, come along. Okay.
So if you had a magic wand, Jose, what would you like people to do to help you?
First, I would say what I will do. So count on my LinkedIn for all your people. I will ask whatever is in my knowledge. I will share it. Any question, someone needs guidance, help, whatever, I'm available. So it's my commitment. Not on Twitter. I only have 18 followers there. So my God. Latin America is in a little bit in the middle, but then there are specific parts of Latin America that are exactly as you described. There's even no internet, so there's no internet. There's no electric power. So I think we have a big challenge there. Then, of course, there are very big cities and everything is there. So it depends on where you are, the challenge, how it looks like.
Mourad, if you had a magic wand, what would you like?
I mean, after the several messages, I absolutely need to go to Egypt first.
You know, he's got a bed for you, I think, you know.
So that would be my first commitment. But no, I think really the take and give from such kind of event, and I will definitely promote our teams. And you know, Annette is a big supporter of all what you have been doing in the past years. I really think we need to better socialize our organization with all the interesting exchanges and experience sharing that have been taking place as well as taking place in the social medias.
Thank you. Let's give them a hand. Thank you very much.